all these musicians go back to school. I love it. I think it's great. Right, okay, it is 7:25 and we're talking all things boxing this morning. This is because a local community champion, Seb Glazer from Hull's Vulcan Boxing Club, is going to be named a finalist in the National Lottery Awards. Now, we sent our reporter Sally Fairfax to the Vulcan Academy, Vulcan Centre, to find out a little bit more about it. Sally, what's going on? Good morning.
This is an absolutely amazing place. I'm in one of the boxing gyms at the moment. You can hear Adams warming up in the background on one of the very many boxing bags, I bet there's a better word for them, hanging down from the rafters. And Sebastian Glazer is one of the people who runs the gym. It's just, what I've found out so far is that it's not just a boxing gym. There's so much more that goes on here, and we'll find out about that a little later. But Sebastian, tell me a little bit about the place, what its aims are and why you're here.
So we're a boxing-related charity, so we believe that sport is a vehicle for social change that uses education as a tool. So we're set up in Westall to help disadvantaged young people who struggle, generally who struggle in mainstream education, but also people like asylum seekers, refugees, and anyone who just needs somewhere safe to come.
But what was it then 11 years ago that you thought, I need to do this? Why did you think that?
I'm not sure. It was just really strange. You know, we got offered to come back to like the boxing club that I started. I used to train at years ago, by the mayor at the time. Sadly, she's passed away, Nadine Fudge. She was a brilliant character, but she kind of she gave us this great opportunity. And then when we were working here, we realised there's so many young people who needed help and support. So it kind of gradually evolved into what it is now. I could never ever have imagined it'd be something like this.
And it is amazing. I mean, we'll see a little later on. There's a woodworking workshop. There is a training kitchen. There's all the different gyms here and all the places for exercise. I'm sure it makes a huge difference to the young people that you work with. And you've been here 11 years, so there'll be kids who have been coming here, you know, since they were 6, who are now teenagers and adults. What do they say to you about the place?
Oh, they're buzzing. Like, literally, I got a really good message this morning. You know, we've been on the news a bit with what's been going on, and like kids and their parents have been reaching out. People I've known for years, and it's just so amazing to watch their success stories and watch them flourish. Sometimes they come in with no confidence, or they've struggled with like their education, or you know, just generally needing like a bit of a helping hand. And now watching them years later and the success, it just makes me massively proud.
It is an amazing place. We're going to be having a look round a little later on, and I don't know whether I'll be allowed to put a pair of boxing gloves on. That'll probably be as far as it goes, actually. But we'll find out what kind of difference this extra funding has made. I think it's more than anything, Sebastian. It's not just the money, it's the recognition.
Yeah, I mean, to be nominated for this award, I mean, it blew me away. I was really surprised, didn't expect it. Got a phone call out of the blue, and then like a week later or so, they're like, "You got to the final?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." And then they're like, "No, it's a big deal." I was like, "Oh really?" They're like, "Yeah, there was like 4,000 entrants nearly, and you got to the last 5." I was like, "Oh wow." And to be honest, like just to be nominated and from the lotteries and from the lottery players, just fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, congratulations. We'll be here all morning and have a look round a little later.
Awesome stuff, Sally. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll get more from Sally, who's at the Vulcan's Gym in Hull later on. Some great work there as well. Seb Glazer being named finalist in the National Lottery Awards. How you find yourself with your boxing fan? Any good? Any good? Do you like it? Lots of boxing fans out there. We were talking about our favourite things to read as a kid. The Beano has turned 85 years of the Beano. It's a good innings, that. It's a really good innings, that. I like my Enid Blyton books, my Roald Dahl books. I think my favourite Roald Dahl book forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, it's got to be The Twits. There's just so much going on with that one, and revenge, and I think when I think about it, there's quite a lot of revenge in some of these Roald Dahl books. Maybe he was trying to say something. Maybe writing was a way for him to deal with his anger issues or something. But yeah, lots of Roald Dahl books, Enid Blyton books, and Davy Gemmell fantasy books. He was one of my favourite fantasy writers growing up as a kid. I remember going into the library, Wincy Library, on a day like this, Saturday afternoon, and just being like, I just want a book. When I looked at the fantasy ones and saw a book called Dark Moon, I was like, you know what? The front cover looks cool. It's got 2 golden statues on it. It's got an eye. It's got a giant eye in the hilt of a sword. This looks like it could be a bit fancy, and it was absolutely incredible. That's absolutely class. Emily says, my favourite book as a child was The Magic Faraway Tree. I still have a copy at home. I absolutely loved it. And Linda says, The Famous Five. Yes, The Famous Five. Wasn't there a member in The Famous Five called George? She didn't like being called Georgina, and she always used to cut her hair and stuff, and everyone used to give her grief for for being too much like a boy, but she was like, nah, I'm just going to be myself, man. This is what I like to do. I really like The Famous Five. Yeah, there was Famous Five. Was it the Series 6? I can't remember what it was for 7. I'll have a look while Nasty gives us the news.
At 7:30 with the latest BBC News for Northern Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire, I'm Natalie Glanville. A man from Grimsby who served 17 years in prison for rape. He always said he did not commit. Is calling for an apology and full explanation after his conviction was quashed. A petition calling on North East Lincolnshire Council to take action on water quality will be debated today. There's a warning from the Met Office that record-breaking hot summers, as we saw last year, will be the average by 2060. And a book which had autographs from the likes of the Rolling Stones is expected to fetch up to £500 when it goes under the hammer in North Lincolnshire later. LSE coach Tony Smith has challenged his players to put in a full 80-minute performance at Huddersfield tonight in the Super League. He's described the last two performances as sloppy, and he wants to see better things from his team in the first half at the John Smith Stadium.
Some of our line speed and some of our tackle attack hasn't been switched on, and couple of little lapses here and there, particularly in first half. So we need to start better and start stronger and not sacrifice anything at the back end of the game either, because we've been coming home pretty strong in most of the games as well.
Full match commentary is on all frequencies and online at bbc.co.uk/Radio Humberside. Our build-up starts from 7:30 tonight. Hull KR head coach Willie Peters admits that the club decided to step away from trying to sign Tyler Dupree following the Props' move to Wigan. After having two bids reportedly rejected by Salford Red Devils, the England international has instead joined the Warriors on a 4-year deal.
The CEO was obviously talking to Salford as were Wigan, and then pretty much they said we're not releasing him, and that was it for us. So we were comfortable with that. Whatever's happened after that is, I don't know what's going on, but we certainly haven't gone back or spoken to Tyler or his management.
In football, Hull City head coach Liam Rossini hopes his players learned a valuable lesson from their penultimate pre-season friendly. City were held to a 1-1 draw at Scunthorpe United on Tuesday night ahead of the start of the Championship campaign next weekend.
If you're off your standards and if you don't start a game well and if you don't win your headers and your tackles, it doesn't matter what level, you can be in for a very long, difficult night. But at the same time, I'd rather learn that lesson now than 3 or 4 games into the season where we can't turn it around.
Scunthorpe United manager Jimmy Dean admits he got his fingers burnt with the attitude of some players signed by the club in the second half of last season. Dean told BBC Radio Humberside that those experiences made sure one particular thing was high on his wanted list this time around.
Well, it's always character. I think, I got my fingers burnt badly last year by characters. Really important this year we got the right type of people through the door, and going back to it, the ones of the right age, the right profile, and the ones who want to represent the football club.
Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson's confirmed he's off.
Just know that I will always be a Red until the day I die.
That's a video on his Instagram where he says he's leaving the Premier League side. It's expected he's going to Steven Gerrard's Saudi team, Al Ettifaqi, but he's not said anything about that in the post. At the Women's World Cup, the day's opening game in Group E finished 1-1 between the USA and the Netherlands. Later this morning in the same group, Portugal take on Vietnam. Then co-hosts Australia have the opportunity to secure their place in the last 16 of the tournament if they beat Nigeria. In cricket, Yorkshire go into this morning's third day against Durham, well placed in the County Championship Division 2 fixture. Reporting from North Marine Road in Scarborough, here's Jonathan Deutsch.
The Tykes have a lead of 238 runs, having scored 340 all out on day 2. Adam Lyth leading the way with his 32nd first-class 100, and Jordan Thompson making 54. Thompson also picked up the only Durham wicket to fall, as the division leaders had made it to 106 for 1 by the close when bad light ended the day's play. Yorkshire still have those runs to play with and will want to make an early breakthrough today and try ask some question of the visitors' top order.
And after England men's hopes of winning cricket's Ashes was washed away by rain, there's still one more test to play against Australia.
Obviously another quick turnaround. The lads took the last few days pretty easy and everyone says they're good to go.
England captain Ben Stokes, they get going at the Oval in London this morning and could tie the series. That's the latest for Northern Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire. The Busy heading into Hull and Holness Road this morning. Got the usual congestion from the Crooked Billet to the Mount Retail Park. Just to let you know, in South Newbold, the A1034 is closed both ways between Pitbolk Hill and South Newbold Road. And Wincolmley in Hull is closed between Fountain Road and Swan Street, Bickerton 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 Road